Hello, and welcome to the first of the Eteach product webinar series. Today, we're going to be looking at the online application forms, the pathway to efficient recruitment. My name is Ben Hanks, and I am the National Account Manager here at Eteach. I've been working with Eteach for 6 years, and I count myself very lucky to predominantly work with multi-academy trusts across the United Kingdom. What we're going to be looking at in this episode today is discussing the benefits of our online application form. Moreover, its ability to increase your application numbers. We're going to look at how you can customize the online application form to fit your specific needs, either for your whole school, your whole trust, or even that one specific vacancy you really want to fill. We're also going to discuss how we can save valuable administration time by simply swapping over to our online application form. Firstly, we're going to take a look at a case study with the Mead Educational Trust. I've been working with the Mead Educational Trust for over a year now, and we have shared many Teams conversations of which how can we make our vacancies more attractive? How can we get more candidates applying for our roles? The school were using their own downloadable application form, and this was in the format of a Word document. Now this might be something you're doing at this moment in time. Fast forward to now, since May and June, what the Trust had decided to do was use our own online application form. Now this wasn't an instant change. When we spoke about the application method, the journey that the candidates take, we mentioned the application form. What we discussed was how do the forms differ? What does your form include that ours doesn't? What does our online form include that yours doesn't? What are the differences? How will this look like to a hiring manager within the school? That individual who's having to download the application forms, read through all this information, will it make my team members' time shorter when looking at candidate applications, or will they have to do more? I'm happy to say the online application form will cut time as well as attract more candidate interest, as you can see here. They moved to the online application form, of which in the shorter period of time they received 1,933 candidates who started the application, of which 1,068 candidates submitted a completed form. We can see the difference in numbers here. 20% with a downloadable form jumped up to a massive 55.3% of candidates that completed the online application form. So what else does the online application form do that your Word form might not, if you're using a Word form? Our online application form is mobile friendly. What we have seen day to day, month to month, even year to year, candidates are looking at their mobile phones when wanting to apply for jobs. We can see the statistic has grown even from last year, where it was about 66% of candidates were looking for jobs on their mobile phones, to now over 70% of candidates are visiting eteach.com via their mobile device. Our online application form is mobile friendly. A Word application form, a PDF even, is not a mobile friendly application form. Candidates don't necessarily have the ability to download a Word document on their form and complete it. I'm sure some of you might be looking at your phone right now and thinking, well, I've got the latest, the most modern mobile that is out there. Even Apple today still doesn't allow you to necessarily edit a Word document on your phone. Our online form is mobile friendly. Candidates can start the application, save their information, return to it at a later date, but most importantly is they could start and finish that application all via their mobile and submit it to you. I'm an ex-teacher myself, and I remember if I did ever want to look for a job, I almost felt guilty sitting in my studio where my students would come in and day out and start looking for a job at another school. I would wait till I got home. But what did I have to do when I got home? Well, first I had to drive home. First I had to let the dog out. I had to cook dinner, put the washing on. The list goes on before I could actually sit down and start to apply for a job. By that point, it's 10 o'clock. I've already got all my other lessons that I need to plan for the next day. However, being able to add information as you go via your mobile and submit that online application form would have taken that stress away from me and probably would have meant I'd have applied for a lot more roles moving forward. The online application form is the only method that allows candidates to complete and start their application on a smartphone. You can see on this graph here, the mobile visits are only increasing, and we're just looking at the month of October. From 2018, around 50%, slowly increasing. I think we can all see between the year of 2020 to 2021 why that may have decreased, and then skyrocketing again up to over 70% in October of candidates that are applying and looking for jobs via their mobile phone. So what else can our online form do, I hear you ask? You can autofill data via the fast online application method. Candidates can upload their CV to our portal, and what our system will do, if you are a registered candidate, is it will start to pick out that key data that you have probably seen thousands of times when downloading an application form and having to complete. Your education history, your qualifications, your career history, all of this data can be pulled from your candidate portal when you register with eteach.com and pulled through to an online application form. What this will do is it will lead to a much quicker application process for the candidate. They can focus on the important parts of the application, which is most likely that supporting statement that will help you to realise how does this candidate stand apart from the others that we have received. Your career history, your education, qualifications, that is all factual data that will never change from form to form. So why make it harder for candidates where they have to copy and paste and enter it every single time? The online application form will pull through that data. The candidate can then spend their time looking at your personal specification, your job description, researching the school that they're looking to apply for, and write that all-important supporting statement that will help you decide, do I want to bring this candidate to interview? You can widen your application net and toggle on application starters. When you're looking at your hiring pipeline via Eteach, you'll be able to see candidates that not have only applied but have started their application as well. Referring to the information I had just discussed on the previous slide, if the application is that much easier for candidates, this is what we're seeing at Eteach. The easier the application form, the more candidates that you're getting through the door, the higher that quantity of candidates, the better the chance of that quality of candidate that you will also find. You can answer any burning questions they may have and really establish a rapport with these candidates that have not even submitted their application form. How many times have you uploaded a vacancy, sat with your fingers crossed and taken a look at that vacancy once it is closed and seen, I thought I may have got more candidates there. Being able to constantly log into our system, seeing those started applicants, engaging with them, sending them a bulk email to prompt them to apply for your application will make a difference. And I will discuss that a little bit further as I start to demonstrate the portal. Now, when I have worked with multi-academy trusts who have been slightly unsure about moving over to our online application form, what I have done with them is said, well, tell you what, let me send you a version of our online application form, both teaching and support. Take a look at your application form, marry up the two and see what may or may not be missing. If you feel that your application form, your downloadable Word application form, is asking a question that ours is not a problem. You can utilize the additional questions functionality. You can add as many questions as you would like to this application form. My only piece of advice would be, again, if you're adding more and more questions, you have to think, is this question relevant at this time? Is this question actually already being asked in the online application form? The more questions you add, the chances are of pushing that candidate slightly further and further away from completing their application form. You've got different types of additional questions. Text single line, text multiple line, yes, no, single choice, multiple choice even. But I would always advise you to reflect on what is it that I'm asking this candidate. Do I need this data at the application stage, or is this something I can ask them at interview? You can set the questions to mandatory or optional, and these can be shared within the group or the trust to maintain uniformity across all of the schools as well. If I create my online application form and this is how I want it to be, fantastic. Let's share that across all the schools that you're working with. Data requests in an instant. What you'll be able to see here is you can request a personal statement, request equal opportunities data, even a photo if required, all in this application. However, you have also got the ability to turn it to optional and even turn it off. Equal opportunities data will be stored, by the way, anonymously, but can be helped to report on within your client portal also. Our form knows what role you are recruiting for. When you're uploading an advert on Eteach, again something I'm very soon to demonstrate, you're able to select the role, the phase, the subject. By simply inserting this data, our system will know what type of role you're advertising for and pre-select either the teaching or non-teaching application form for you. There is also an international variation of the online application form for non-UK clients also. One of the biggest things I have found with working with multi-academy trusts across the UK is, well, we're not just advertising on Eteach, we're using our social media and we're using our website. How can we track where that traffic comes from? Excellent question. We want you to be able to see exactly where your candidates are coming from so that you understand the time and effort that you're putting into your website, to your social media, is getting that candidate traction. You can get an understanding of where these quality candidates are coming from via our track candidate sources. If you share your vacancy to social media, fantastic, you can do that from our portal. You no longer have to copy and paste a link here to make sure the candidate tracks back. It already does it for you. The report section collates this data so that when a vacancy closes, halfway through a vacancy, or even if you're looking half-termly, you can track exactly where your candidates have come from. As you start to move them through the hiring pipeline, you'll be able to see where did these candidates come from that were shortlisted, where did the candidates come from that were interviewed, or if you want to see where every single candidate had come from in the applied section, not a problem. But it really will help you to understand the time and effort you're putting in to placing your vacancies, wherever you're placing them, and where those candidates are coming from. Your Customer Success Manager at Eteach will be on hand to assist you with your smarter recruiting. So please do not hesitate to ask us any questions. For the purpose of this demo, I'm going to use the Eteach Recruiter version of the client portal. However, everything I'm doing can be replicated on any of our other brands. What I'm going to demonstrate now is creating a vacancy and more specifically looking at the online application form I have just been talking about with you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click to create a new vacancy, and within this trust I'm going to be uploading a role for the secondary school. I'm going to be uploading a drama teacher vacancy. When I select drama teacher from the taxonomy list, what you will see down here is it has pre-populated the job categorization section of teacher. This means on the application page it's going to pre-select the teaching online application form for me. Now if I just refer to the phase section here, this is just going to be a secondary drama teacher. So I'm going to remove primary. They may have the ability to teach A level as well, so I'm going to leave in sixth form. What I will then include here is drama as the subject. In order for me to continue to the application page, I need to include some form of information in the advert text. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to preview the job advert to demonstrate here. This is how it currently looks. I'm going to include an example template. This is bringing me a class teacher template, and if I click import, it will then pull through all of this information, just making it a little bit easier for me, of which I could then amend some of the information depending on the vacancy I am advertising. If I click continue, we will then appear on the application page. The application method that is pre-selected is the online application form. I have done this in the background of my account under the settings section. This just saves me time. Each time I need to upload a vacancy, I'm not having to worry about which application method am I using. Am I going to accidentally upload a vacancy where the wrong application method is chosen? I have pre-selected the online application form. As we can see here, it has pulled through the teaching application template for me. The section here is the additional questions section. Now, as this is a secondary that is part of this trust, What I'm going to do here is select the YEET template. This is a group template. The trust has set this up on the trust account and they have shared this template to me. As you can see, here are the 3 questions. They are set as required, so the candidate will need to fill these out in order to submit their application. I could always make them optional if I wanted to, or I could even edit these whilst I'm here. I've thought, as this is a drama teacher vacancy, there's a little bit more information I want to ask, so I'm going to ask them another question. If I click Add Question here, as I mentioned previously, single line, multiple line, yes, no, single choice and multiple choice. I'm wanting to ask a yes-no question. The reason why I'm wanting to ask this question is because of this role. It is a role-specific question. And I want to know if the candidate who is applying for this vacancy has managed a school production before. So I'm going to write, have you managed a school production? I'm just leaving that as yes, no. If I wanted to, I could have asked this question as a multiple line and asked them to give me some examples as to why, but I think I'm going to save that for the interview. What I could do now is save and add the question, add another question, or I could just click save. That question is then there and it is set to required. If we look at the application settings here, I'm going to make sure that personal statement section is mandatory. I want that information in my application form. However, I could preset that in the background of the settings if I wanted to. We haven't discussed the online equal opportunities monitoring form, so I'm just going to leave that as off for now. We also have the self-declaration questions, of which I'm going to leave as employer to collect from the shortlisting stage, not to collect within the application form. What we have also got here is the job referees section. I'm wanting to ask this candidate for a minimum of 2 referees, so I have set that to 2. Again, everything I have just demonstrated in this side of the uploaded job process can be pre-selected in the background of your account, making uploading a vacancy even faster than you may have originally thought. What I'm going to do now is continue. There's currently myself following this job because I'm the one who's uploading it. However, what I do actually want to do is have a few more of my team members following this role. So I'm going to select a couple of my colleagues. One of the colleagues I'm going to be selecting is actually the head of drama for the school. I want them to be able to see the candidates that are going to be applying for this role. If I then click continue, I've got the ability to publish the vacancy. This will go live both on eteach.com, my individual school's career site, as well as the trust's career site too. What we're going to take a look at now is the recruiting pipeline when candidates have applied. As you can see, I've got my drama teacher vacancy I just posted. We're going to take a look at the Key Stage 1 class teacher role. If I click into here, you're able to see the candidates in the recruiting pipeline who have applied, and you can even see some have been shortlisted. So one of my colleagues has already gone into here and they've started to look at the candidates that they have received. We had mentioned earlier on in the presentation that we've got the ability to see started applications. So as a recruiter, I might be looking at my vacancy here and thinking, I wish I had more candidates, or do I have more candidates even? So what I'm going to demonstrate is how to turn that on in settings. If we go to settings here, and under my account settings and recruiting pipeline, here is that all-important toggle, show started applications. I'm going to turn that on, and I'm going to save my changes. If I now go back to my vacancies and we're going to return to this Key Stage 1 class teacher role, what I will see now is there are more candidates than there were previously. But how can I see who has started and who has completed? Very simply, turn on this toggle here, Application Details. You will be able to see very clearly status complete, status started. If I start to scroll down here again, all the different candidates that have completed their application and those that have started. Now, I recognise this candidate here. They have been a supply teacher for us in the past. So what I want to do is prompt Frank to complete their application form. I know my vacancy is going to be closing soon. I'm happier that I've got some candidates that have completed the form, but there's a chance I could have even more. As we mentioned previously, the ability to see candidates that have started your application, the candidates that have applied using the online application form, we've got more candidates than we did last time, and I want to maximise all of those candidates. So what I could do is I could email Frank here and prompt him to apply for my application. If I go to the emails tab, I could then write an email to Frank prompting him to apply for my application, or if I'd already set up a template in the background of my account, I could even use a prompt to apply email template. This does actually take me back to when I was speaking with one of my trusts. They had a brand new starter. I'd already said goodbye to the person that I'd been working with for a couple of years. They were off to a new venture and we had a new starter, so it was up to me to get them up to speed on the system. As I was demonstrating this, I mentioned, oh, your predecessor had set up a prompt to apply email template. At this point, my new contact started laughing and said, I received that exact email template you're demonstrating to me now. She said, I had started to apply, had other bits and pieces going on, so I just saved my online form. A couple of days later, I received an email with the header of the job title and the employer name, and I thought, oh, why are they reaching out to me? And they were prompting me to apply. She told me it was that exact prompt that made her continue her application form and submit it, and it's now nice that she's now sitting there today. She got the job, and I'm now speaking to her, demonstrating something she already knows is already very effective. So why use our online application form? In this candidate-led market, it's so important to make the application process as smooth as possible to get those interested candidates completing our form. I'm sure all of us sat here at some point has had to apply to be in the position we are in now. And you may have had some thoughts about that application process and just wished it had been simpler. Our online form does just that. It makes applying for roles within education, regardless of the position you're applying for, that much easier. You get to create a bespoke form to fit your specific needs for your specific vacancies. You can reach a wider net of candidates to then shortlist, have the ability to increase your application numbers by over 50%, save valuable administration time, and just recruit that little bit smarter. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been an absolute pleasure to demonstrate the online application form and its benefits to the schools that we are working with. If you do have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to get in touch and send your questions to product@eteach.com, and a member of our team will be in touch with you as soon as they possibly can. Thank you again for your time, and take care.